Prankster's Blunder, a Discord creepypasta by Space Voyager, 1701. I haven't told this story to anyone else in quite a long time, but I've been feeling the need to get things off my chest ever since my cousin ended up in prison. Why he was sent to prison, you might all be asking. Well, it's a long story, and it's one that I haven't told due to personal reasons until now. This story happened back in 2017 in Texas, when I was 19. I'll keep my real name secret, as to not give away my identity, so I'll just use my first name, which is Fred. At the time, I was heavily into Discord, since I commonly used it to chat with various friends of mine during my college courses. For those of you who don't know what Discord is, though I'm pretty sure most of you know, I'll explain. Discord is a popular texting and chatting app that allows you to chat in various online servers with other users, either through texting or voice chatting. It also has a phone option that lets you make phone calls to other users on whatever server you're in. Each server has its own channel that can be created by the server owner and the admin, which can be used for either texting or voice chatting. Texting isn't all you can send either. Users can have the option of posting images, video links, or GIFs. You can even use Discord to livestream movies, video gameplays, and many other fun videos as well. I had my own server that I had made named Fantasia Isle, and 10 other users in there with me. Some of them were my friends, who I commonly chatted with whenever I got the time. The other users were a few newcomers who my friends had good connections with. The last one was my 17-year-old cousin, named Ray, whose Discord username was Puck, the Prankster King, with his avatar being an image of Puck the Jester from the Shakespeare play known as A Midsummer Night's Dream. My username on Discord was Master Yensid, and my avatar was of Yensid the Wizard from Fantasia and Kingdom Hearts. Yeah, as you can guess, I'm quite a big Disney fan. Me and my friends would mostly chat on my Discord server about our daily lives and sometimes help each other out with schoolwork and other things. We would also use the voice chat option to chat with each other, sometimes stream movies on Friday nights. My server had 6 texting channels and 3 voice channels for voice chatting. The texting channels were labeled as general, schoolwork, videos, memes, artwork, off-topic content. And the 3 voice channels were labeled as movies, general chatting, and school topics. There was also a rules category, which contained the rules for my Discord, which all my members kindly followed. As for my cousin Ray, and he was a troublemaker, and had to be put on notice quite a lot due to him constantly violating my server rules. And he was what you would call an internet troll. He'd constantly prank me and other members on my server by sometimes calling them nasty names, and he'd sometimes post X-rated images in some of the channels just to get a reaction out of it. Needless to say, Ray often got kicked from Fantasia Isle quite a lot due to the constant trouble he'd caused for me and my friends. I strictly prohibited any porn or explicit content from being posted in my Discord, since I didn't like the idea of having that stuff in it, and my parents were strict about not having porn in the house. Ray didn't seem to care, or respect this rule, however, as he constantly violated and claimed that he was only pranking and trolling. Me and my other friends didn't take too kindly to this, though, and we ended up having to eventually kick Ray from the server. Then he constantly begged me to let him back in, only for me to decline repeatedly. Ray wasn't the nicest person on Discord, and the same could be said of real life, too. And he was always a problem child ever since his father and also my uncle, died when he was only 7 years old. My uncle's years of smoking finally caught up to him. My Aunt Chloe, who was also Ray's mother, wasn't always there to watch him since she was always busy with work and constantly having to tend to her two other children. They were my two younger cousins named Ivy and Sally. Unlike Ray, they were much nicer and were more fun to have around, but were constantly picked on by Ray because whenever his mother wasn't watching, Ray wasn't the nicest person. And he always had been like that since his dad passed away. But before my uncle's passing, Ray had been stubborn at times and would always want most of the attention. But that changed after his dad died. He had become arrogant, selfish, and sometimes cruel towards others. My Aunt Chloe had constantly had to deal with Ray, getting into fights at school and for picking on the other kids. Over the next several years, and he entered middle school, his behavior got even worse. While Ray would sometimes act nice around other people, he was often bossy and would want things his way. He also made a few friends who were just as nasty as he was, yet Ray's mother didn't always pay enough attention to what kind of friends her own son was making since she was always busy with her job. I honestly wish she'd pay more attention to Ray and got him some help, and that might have prevented the horrible events yet to come from happening. Once Ray and his friends entered high school, they had already developed a reputation for being big bullies, so many of their students calmly avoided him, as did I. Me and Ray never really hung out that much, and for good reason. I didn't constantly like being picked on by him and his mates, so I avoided him as much as I could. Now, even my parents and two siblings didn't like him. Once Discord came out in 2015, Ray and his friends were quick to instantly jump on it. Like me, Ray made his own server named Prankster's Paradise and invited his other nasty friends onto it. I'd been in it once, but didn't stay for long as I constantly be trolled and bullied on the server by Ray and his friends. They went on Discord for one purpose. That was to troll people on various other Discord servers that they came across. On Ray's server, he had only four text channels and one voice channel. His server wasn't that big. The first channel was the general channel for chatting. The second one was called Servers to Troll. The third one was named Trolling Ideas, and the fourth one, Not Safe for Work. The second channel was used to post links to other servers that Ray's nasty buddies would find for them and Ray to troll. The third one was where they discussed the plans for what servers to troll next and how they would do it. And the fourth was a channel where Ray and his friends would post X-rated images and content. I personally found that disgusting and unnecessary, but since Ray and his friends were at that age where guys develop those raging hormones, it was understandable that they'd be into that stuff. I mean, that one voice channel was the same as a third texting channel, and only it was where they discussed their plans through voice chatting. I got in the layout of Ray's server, but I left it after I couldn't handle the trolling. Ray and his five friends had trolled over hundreds of servers, mostly by either raiding them with insulting messages and gross images, or by bullying other users in said servers. They mostly ended up getting banned from the servers within 20 seconds of being in there and move on to other servers. His methods of trolling got more aggressive over time, and I had constantly tried telling him to stop, but Ray would just ignore me and continued doing what he was doing without even thinking of the consequences. I warned Ray that many of these random Discord servers could potentially have kids on them, and sending them such horrid images and text would possibly get him in trouble with the law. But Ray wouldn't listen to me. His friends also didn't care either, and he would even tell me to just shut up if I spoke out against them. I eventually told my aunt about it, and she ended up lecturing Ray about why he shouldn't troll people on the internet, but she never looked into exactly what Ray and his friends had been doing. I honestly wish my Aunt Chloe would have actually looked into Ray's Discord server and put a stop to what he was doing. I mean, the things might have gone differently on that one night. You might be wondering what I'm referring to, so I'll get to that now. One night in August of 2017, my aunt had invited me over to her place around 5 p.m. to watch Molly and Ivy, but she worked late, since she didn't really feel comfortable leaving them with Ray. They were 13 and 12 years old, and Ray was 17, and I was 19, which made me the oldest in the house. While at my aunt's house, I found a few Domino's pizzas for me and my cousins on the kitchen counter. I grabbed some pizza and then headed into the living room, where I saw Ray sitting at the table with his laptop. Miley and Ivy were upstairs minding their own business, so I decided to stay with Ray to make sure he didn't cause trouble. As I was about to sit down on the sofa, I heard a familiar ping on Ray's laptop and walked
You're too
over.
quiet. They can't hear you.
What?
You're too quiet. They can't hear you. I've been trying to tell you.
Tell me if this is better. My apologies, everybody. Tell me right now if this is better. I'm sorry for interrupting the story.
That's better.
Am I just gonna have to ask? I'm sorry. I promised Space Voyager that I would continue the story without commentary. Do I need to start the story over again? Let me know in the chat if I have to start it over again. I'm very sorry. Okay, my apologies to Space Voyager 1701. If you guys can hear me better right now, I'll go ahead and continue the story from where I left off. Oh, but okay. Make sure that you can hear me right now. If enough people say that it's going fine, I'll go ahead and I'll start again. How's it sound now? Christina?
Hold on. It sounds fine to me. Some of them say there's an echo, but it sounds fine.
Okay, again, my apologies. I turned the volume up. I told you before I was having problems with my encoder. But yeah, I will start the story again. If there's any problems going forward, again, just tell my sister. Still low. I don't really know why my microphone is turned up high. I have the encoder turned up high too. I mean, I can talk closer to the microphone if you want, but you might hear all the sounds though. But first of all, my apologies to Space Voyager 1701. I wanted to do this perfectly, and obviously I did not do that, so I'm sorry. But I will go ahead and start from the beginning. I will talk close to the microphone like this. I don't know what else to do because everything on my side is telling me that everything is fine. And I'm getting a really high volume on the microphone. So, again, I'll start it over again. My apologies. And again, If you have a problem, just let Evil Black Cat know and she'll take care of it. No, the mic is sitting on my desk, like it always is. It's nothing different than it has been before, but I'm going to try again. Prankster's Blunder, a Discord creepypasta. I haven't told the story to anyone else in a long time, but I've been feeling the need to get things off my chest ever since my cousin ended up in prison. Why he was sent to prison, you might all be asking. And it's a long story. It's one that I haven't told due to personal reasons until now. This story happened back in 2017 in Texas when I was 19 years old. I'll keep my real name secret, as it might give away my identity, so I just used my first name, which is Fred. At the time, I was heavily into Discord, since I commonly used it to chat with various friends of mine during my college courses. And for those of you who don't know where Discord is, although I'm pretty sure most of you do know, I'll explain. Discord is a popular texting and chatting app that allows you to chat in various online servers with other users, either through texting or voice chatting. It also has a phone option that lets you make phone calls to other users, or whatever server you're in. Each server has its own channel that can be created by the server owner and the admin, which can be used for either texting or voice chatting. Texting isn't all you can send either. Users can have the option of posting images, video links, or GIFs. And you can even use Discord to live stream movies, video gameplays, and many other fun videos as well. I had my own server that I had named Fantasia Isle, and 10 other users in there with me. 7 of them were friends who I commonly chatted with whenever I got the time, and the other users were a few newcomers who my friends had good connections with. The last one was my 17-year-old cousin named Ray, whose Discord username was Puck, the Prankster King. With his with his avatar being an image of Puck the Jester from the Shakespeare play known as A Midsummer's Night's Dream. My username in Discord was Master Yensid, and my avatar was of Yensid, the wizard from Fantasia and Kingdom Hearts. Yeah, as you can guess, I'm quite a big Disney fan. Me and my friends would mostly chat on my Discord server about our daily lives and sometimes help each other out with schoolwork and other things. We would also use the voice chat option to chat with each other and sometimes stream movies on Friday nights. My server had 6 texting channels and 3 voice channels for voice chatting. And the texting channels were labeled as general, schoolwork, videos, memes, artwork, and off-topic content. And the 3 voice channels were labeled as movies, general, chatting, and school topics. There was also a rules category, which contained the rules for my Discord, which all of my members kindly followed. And as for my cousin, well, Ray was a troublemaker. He had to be put on notice quite a lot due to him constantly violating my server rules. He was what you'd call an internet troll. He constantly pranked me and other members on my server by sometimes calling them nasty names, and he'd sometimes post X-rated images in some of the channels just to get a reaction out of it. And needless to say, Ray got often kicked from Fantasia Isle quite a lot due to the constant trouble he caused for me and my friends. I strictly prohibited any porn or explicit content from being posted on my Discord, because I didn't like the idea of having the stuff in it, and my parents were strict about not having porn in the house. Well, Ray, he didn't seem to care or respect this rule. However, as he constantly would violate it and claim he was only pranking and trolling, me and my other friends didn't take kindly to this, though, because it ended up I eventually had to kick Ray from the server. Then he constantly begged me to let him back in, but only for me to decline repeatedly. Ray wasn't the nicest person on Discord, and the same could be said in real life. He was always a problem child ever since his father, also my uncle, died when he was only 7 years old. My uncle's years of smoking finally caught up to him. My Aunt Chloe, who was also Ray's mother, wasn't always there to watch him since she was always busy with work and constantly having to tend to her other two children. They were my younger cousins named Ivy and Sally. Unlike Ray, they were much nicer and were fun to have around, but were constantly picked on by Ray whenever his mother wasn't watching. Ray wasn't the nicest person, and he always had been like that since his dad passed away. Before my uncle's passing, Ray had been stubborn at times and would always want most of the attention, but that changed after his dad died. He had become arrogant, selfish, and sometimes cruel towards others. My Aunt Chloe had constantly had to deal with Ray getting into fights at school and for picking on other kids over the next several years. And when he entered middle school, his behavior got even worse. While Ray would sometimes act nice around other people, he was often bossy and would want things his way. He also made a few friends who were just as nasty as he was. Yet Ray's mother didn't always pay enough attention to what kind of friends her own son was making, since she was always busy with her job. I honestly wish she had paid more attention to Ray and got him some help. Then it might have prevented the horrible events yet to come from happening. Once Ray and his friends entered high school, they had already developed a reputation for being big bullies. So many other students commonly avoided him as I did. And me and Ray, we never hung out that much, and for good reason. I didn't like being constantly picked on by him and his mates, so I avoided him as much as I could. Even my parents and two siblings didn't like him. Once Discord came out in 2015, Ray and his friends were quick to instantly jump on it. Like me, Ray had made his own server named Prankster's Paradise and invited his other nasty friends onto it. I had been on it more than once, but didn't stay on it for long as I'd constantly be trolled and bullied on the server by Ray and his friends. They went on Discord for one purpose, and that was to troll people on various other Discord servers that they came across. On the Ray's server, he only had 4 text channels and one voice channel. His server wasn't that big, but the first channel was generally a channel for chatting. The second one was called Servers to Troll. The third one was named Trolling Ideas, and the fourth one was Not Safe for Work. The second channel was used to post links to other servers that Ray's nasty buddies would find for them and Ray to troll. The third one was where they discussed the plans for what servers to troll next and how they would do it. And the fourth one was a channel where Ray and his friends would post X-rated images and content. I personally found that disgusting and unnecessary. But since Ray and his friends were at that age where guys develop those raging hormones, it was understandable that they'd be into that sort of thing. The one voice channel was the same as the third texting channel, only it was where they discussed their plans through voice chatting. I had gotten the layout of Ray's server, but I left it after I couldn't handle the trolling. Ray and his 5 friends had trolled over hundreds of servers, mostly by either raiding them with insulting messages and gross images, or by bullying other users in said servers. They mostly ended up getting banned from the servers within 20 seconds of being there and move on to other servers. His methods of trolling got more aggressive over time, and I had constantly tried telling him to stop, but Ray would just ignore me and continue doing what he was doing without even thinking of the consequences. I warned Ray that many of these random Discord servers could potentially have kids on them, and sending them such horrid images and texts could possibly get him in trouble with the law. But Ray wouldn't listen to me. His friends also didn't care either, and would even tell me to just shut up if I spoke out against them. I eventually told my aunt about it, and she ended up lecturing Ray about why he shouldn't troll people on the internet. But she never actually looked into what exactly Ray and his friends had been doing. I honestly wish my Aunt Chloe would have actually looked into Ray's Discord server and put a stop to what he was doing. Then things might have gone differently on that one night. You might be wondering what I'm referring to, so I'll get to that now. One night in August of 2017, my aunt had invited me over to her place around 5 p.m. to watch Molly and Ivy, while she worked late since she didn't feel comfortable leaving them alone with Ray. They were both 13 and 12 years old, and Ray was 17 and I was 19, which made me the oldest in the house. While at my aunt's house, I Found a few Domino's pizza for me and my cousins in the kitchen counter. I grabbed some pizza and then headed into the living room where I saw Ray sitting at the table with his laptop. Molly and Ivy were upstairs minding their own business, so I decided to stay with Ray to make sure he didn't cause trouble. As I was about to sit on the sofa, I heard a familiar ping on Ray's laptop and walked over to see him on Discord. He was currently chatting with his trolling buddies in the Prankster's Paradise server about something, to which I walked closer to get a better look. Ray was chatting with the username TrashCanSimp69 about several new Discord servers he and his other friends had found. Here's a bit of what they were saying. I'm going to use my cousin's and his friends' users' names for context. Punk the Prankster King says, "So, what servers did you and the others find today?" Trash Simp 69 says, "Oh, quite a few, but there's one in particular that I think could use some good trolling." Punk the Prankster King, "Really? And what's it called?" Trashcan Simp 69, "It's a server called Pirates Cove. Our friend Lazy Fatbutt has the link to it. He also posted the links to 3 other servers in the trolling ideas section. You'll find them there." And Punk the Prankster King replies, "Cool. Is any of our other friends in the Pirate Cove server?" Trash Simp 69 replies, "Yeah, Lazy Fatbutt and Cruel Skanks 31 are already there and checking it out. And man, the users in there are a bunch of stubborn brats." Punk the Prankster King replies, "Is that so? Well, then send me the link, and I'll come over there and teach those brats a lesson on showing some respect to us." Trashcan Simp 69, "I just sent it in your DM. Show those users who's boss." Ray entered his DM, and he found the link to the Discord server named Pirates Cove in it. The server had 15 users in it with 5 online, and the server icon was what appeared to be Captain Hook's pirate ship, the Jolly Roger from Peter Pan. As soon as I saw that icon, I got worried, a worried feeling in my gut. Considering the fact that the server icon was of a pirate ship from a kid's film, I got the implication that there were most likely young kids in the server. Once Ray entered it, he was sent a greeting by a common Discord bot known as MEE6. This was a popular Discord bot that was capable of sending greetings to newcomers who entered the server it was in, and it could also notify the other users when someone left the server as well. The server only had 3 text channels in it, but no voice channel. There was a rules channel, an art channel, and a general channel. A few seconds after Ray entered, he was greeted by a user named Pirate Princess Izzy in the general channel. Her avatar was of the pirate girl named Izzy from Jake and the Neverland Pirates. Here's what she said. Pirate Princess Izzy, "Hi, you come to have fun with us?" Another user named Pirate Captain Jake also greeted Ray, asking him if he wanted to, quote, join his pirate crew. Several other users began asking similar things as well, but some of them typed poorly, which made some of their messages hard to understand. I felt my heartbeat quicken its pace as I saw Ray grinning an evil grin, and then he began typing. What he said was anything but friendly. Fuck the Prankster King. "You would join your stupid crew, you fat-faced dumbass. You probably smell like bad tuna." I felt a bit upset by Ray's nasty comment towards Pirate Captain Jake and said, "Dude, these users are probably kids. Don't say nasty stuff to them." Ray just glanced at me with a frustrated look and said, "Shut up, bruh. I'm just trolling them. Besides, you don't know if these users are kids." "Ray, they obviously have usernames named after characters from a Disney cartoon meant for young kids, and the server name and icon are also a dead giveaway as well. You need to just leave them alone," I protested. "Not a chance, Fred. These little brats need a lesson from the king of pranks. And that's me." Ray grinned and began typing again. Pirate Captain Jake was also typing along with Pirate Princess Izzy, and here's some of what was said between Ray and them. "Mind you, it isn't Prizzy." Pirate Captain Jake, "Hey, don't say mean stuff to my sis." Puck the Prankster King, "Oh, so that little bitch is your sister? That's so sweet. Has she been queefing on deck lately?" Pirate Captain Jake, you're not supposed to say that. Pirate Princess Izzy, leave bro alone. Ray then began mocking these users by saying very nasty and cruel things that I'd rather not say aloud, but I'll just say that some of what he said was very racist and even sexual, and Ray's other friends began joining in and mocking the poor kids as well. Pirate Captain Jake was now clearly angry, since I saw him sending face emojis into the chat and telling them to leave his sister alone. Pirate Princess Izzy was practically begging for Ray to just leave her alone and that she was upset with what Ray and his friends were doing to her. I was starting to get angry and upset myself. It was very clear now that these were kids that Ray and his friends were bullying in the server, and he didn't seem to care at all. Ray, that's enough. Can't you see you're upsetting them? Stop saying all the disgusting stuff and leave them alone. I snapped angrily. No way, man. They disrespected me, so they deserve it, Ray shot back. They did nothing wrong. You started the drama, not them, I accused. And also, if you don't stop it, you might end up in trouble for it. Ray scoffed in disbelief and said, they ain't gonna do shit. They're a bunch of dumb kids who don't know anything about who I am and where I live. Besides, I'm just messing with them. You can't do this kind of stuff to little kids, Ray. Why are you always doing this kind of stuff? It's not right, and you know it, I argued. Ray just glared at me and said, 'cause it's funny. He then turned back to his laptop and told his buddies to raid the two other channels on the server while he dealt with the quote-unquote sea rats in the general channel, and several other users were typing at this point. Pirate Princess Izzy, go away, you meanie. Pretty Tinkerbell said, I hate you. Pirate Captain Jake said, shut up, or I'll tell Mommy and Daddy. So Puck the Prankster King replied, don't even think about it. You do that, and I'll come over to your house and beat you up. Pirate Captain Jake, you a fat idiot, Puck. As soon as Pirate Captain Jake said that, Ray suddenly got very angry, and for good reason. He was a bit overweight and was sometimes made fun of it for when he was younger. Ray had been a victim of bullying as a kid, which might explain why he ended up becoming a bully himself, despite his mother trying to help him out with advice on how to avoid being a victim of bullying. It never really helped that much. It had a psychological effect on Ray throughout his childhood, and being called fat would always trigger him. So right after Pirate Captain Jake called him a fat idiot, Ray angrily responded back with, what did you call me, you little bastard? Pirate Captain Jake replied, I say you're a fat meanie. Pirate Princess Izzy added, yeah, you stupid and fat. Ray was practically red in the face at that moment, and he typed an angry message in. Puck the Prankster King, you think that's funny, wise ass? I'll show you something funny. I was nervous at this point and watched as Ray entered his server and opened up the Not Safe for Work channel. He then had a Discord bot named Pancake spawn an explicit adult fan art drawing of Jake and the Neverland Pirates. The image was a disgusting pic that depicted the characters Jake and Izzy engaged in very sexual activities that no child should ever see. As soon as I saw Ray copying the image, I immediately realized in horror what he was about to do, and I knew I had to stop him at all costs. Oh God, Ray, no, don't do it, I gasped in shock. Too bad. They called me fat, and no one calls me fat and gets away with it, Ray snapped coldly. No, you can't send those kind of images to kids. It's illegal, I practically yelled. I don't care. No one's going to do anything to me, Ray shot back, and attached the image to the message board. Before he could send it, though, I grabbed Ray by his arm and actually pulled him away from the laptop. Ray, you're going too far. If you do this, you could get in serious trouble with the law, and you and your friends have already terrorized these poor kids enough as it is. Please, for once, just listen to me, I begged. I was hoping that Ray would listen to reason, but as you might have already guessed, Ray shoved me backwards onto the floor and disregarded my plea. You're not the boss of me, Fred. I'll do whatever I want, whenever I want, and no one tells me what to do, Ray yelled back. Before I could stop him, he sent the nasty images into the server with the message attached to it, which I'd rather not mention due to how gross and obscene it was. The moment that image was sent, the entire server went silent, and everyone stopped chatting and typing. No one else said anything, not even Ray or his friends. He simply grinned at the clever little stunt he had just pulled, and I stood nearby, completely disgusted and enraged by what Ray had done. Two users suddenly began typing. It was Pirate Princess Izzy and Pirate Captain Jake. When their messages appeared, I could tell that they were disgusted, confused, and possibly frightened. The messages said the following: Pirate Princess Izzy, what's going on? Pirate Captain Jake, why are they doing that? Pirate Princess Izzy, this is scary, I want mommy.
Hey,
Pirate Captain Jake, he's hurting her. A few other users also began typing various messages, most of which were words of fear and disgust. Ray was about to respond when his bladder growled, causing him to moan in frustration. Damn, gotta drop some bombs just when things were getting interesting, Ray grumbled, then rushed out of the room and upstairs to the restroom. With him out of the room, I rushed over to the laptop and saw more users on the server panicking. They were saying things that really got me worried and concerned. Apparently, the user Pirate Princess Izzy was having some sort of breakdown, along with Pirate Captain Jake, and the other users were trying to comfort them. Pirate Captain Jake, Sis is scared, really scared. She's not breathing right. First mate Vidya, Puck is evil. Ensign Toodles said, Is she dead? I was feeling horrible for these kids for having to be put through this misery. And for what? Just because Ray thought it would be funny to terrorize them for laughs? And as I was pondering on what to do, Pirate Captain Jake typed out a message, and what he said made my stomach churn. The message read, You're a bad guy. I'm telling Daddy, and he's a cop. He'll make you pay. I wasn't too sure what to think of that. I wondered if maybe Pirate Captain Jake was just saying that to try and scare Ray and his friends away, but I had no way of knowing since most users on Discord usually say these things quite a bit. They usually aren't serious, but I'd soon find out how wrong I was. After I deleted that disgusting image that Ray had posted onto the server, Pirate Captain Jake suddenly began typing again. A bit longer than usual. Once the message was posted, however, I noticed that it was typed in a much more skilled fashion than before. It wasn't as sloppy. What the message said, though, was anything but pleasant. It was an angry message in all caps that read, Who the hell do you think you are? Sending these horrid images to my 6-year-old son and daughter, you disgusting son of a bitch. That caught me off guard for a moment. Then I realized that whoever sent that message must have been an adult, since it definitely said things that kids should never say. I also realized that this must have been the father of Pirate Captain Jake and Pirate Princess Izzy. I was tempted to type something up, but quickly decided against it since it wasn't my account. I didn't want to look like the guilty one. Not Pirate Captain Jake began typing again, and this one said, Answer me right now, you sick little prick. You better start talking right now. My daughter is having a severe anxiety attack because of what you and your disgusting little friends posted all over this server. Now start talking. I was already upset over what Ray had done, but that one message really scared me. Now I know for a fact that most people in Discord who say these kind of things are mostly just doing it for attention, because I've had many other users and other servers saying things like that. They had mental health issues and other such things. It's hard to confirm as to whether or not certain users are being serious or not, since you have no way of really knowing who's on the other side of the screen. This message, however, really got my attention, and it definitely seemed serious, considering the fact that the users on this server were clearly children. It was perfectly safe to assume that what this other user using Captain Pirate Jake's account was saying was true. X-rated images, especially ones related to kids' content, could traumatize any kid who laid eyes on it. I honestly didn't know what to do at this point. So I did the only thing I could think of. I set Ray's online status to offline, hoping that would help, but I was only fooling myself. Not Pirate Captain Jake began typing again, and this was another angry message. Oh no you don't. Don't you dare, and I mean dare even think of playing that fucking game with me. I know you're still online and probably watching, so you better do as I say and answer my questions right now. And there was no way I was typing anything, so all I could do was watch whatever this person was typing. The ME6 bot then suddenly sent a message saying that Ray's two other buddies had left the server. I assumed that they were either banned or just left out of fear of being found out. I couldn't care less about what the reason was, to be honest, and about after 2 minutes, not Pirate Captain Jake typed out another message, this time not in all caps, though. Alright, you want to play that game with me, you little shit? I'm pretty sure the other officers down at the police station would love to hear about this, so unless you want me contacting my other fellow officers and showing them all this lovely shit you and your friends sent to my son's server, you better start talking, and I mean right fucking now. At this point, I was freaking out. It was very clear at this point that this wasn't a prank or someone trying to scare Ray. The person typing on the other side was clearly a cop, and if that was the case, I knew Ray would be in trouble. If the police saw what Ray and his friends had posted on Pirate's Cove, they would undoubtedly track him down and possibly arrest him. And what he did was clearly an act of cyberbullying. After a minute, not Pirate Captain Jake left one final message. Alright, so that's how you want to play it, wise ass? I'll be contacting the police station right after this and showing my other partners the evidence I just found here. I can promise you right now that I will do everything in my power to find out where you live. So I hope you had your fun, because once I'm through with you, you're gonna wish you were never born, you disgusting punk. Now get off this server and don't ever let me see you, and I mean ever, catch you or your little friends back here again. If you ever return, I promise you that when I find out where you live, I'll beat you with my nightstick so bad you'll have to be put on life support by the time I'm through with you. Right after that message was sent, the screen switched back to the general area of Ray's server, and the server icon of Pirate's Cove vanished from the server selection area of the page. At that same moment, Ray had returned from the bathroom and saw me staring at his laptop. What are you doing, Fred? You better not be touching that. Ray warned as he sat back down, and then he frowned as he noticed that he was no longer on Pirate's Cove server. Hey, where's Pirate's Cove? Ray went into his DMs where the link to the Pirate's Cove server was, and he tried to re-enter it, but nothing happened. Instead, a message showed up that said, "User has been banned from this guild." Well, shit. Those little brats couldn't handle me, it seems, Ray scoffed. Dude, you're in really deep shit now, I informed him in an angry tone. What are you talking about? What's going on? Ray demanded. I explained everything that had happened right after he left to use the restroom and about how Ray's disgusting act had gotten the attention of someone who claimed to be the father of Pirate Captain Jake and Pirate Princess Izzy. I then went on to tell him that Pirate Captain Jake stated that his father was a cop, and also explained the part about what he said about tracking Ray down and making him pay. Of course, Ray just scoffed in disbelief at everything I told him. Oh, Fred, you actually believe that load of bullshit? It's Discord. People lie all the time. And for all you know, that could have been the kid's older brother, or someone acting tough, Ray speculated. You don't know that. And for what I saw, it looked pretty serious to me, I shot back. Bruh, I've been trolling on hundreds of servers, and almost every other butthurt user on them said similar things to me and my mates when we trolled them. I even had a few claiming to be gang members threaten to hunt me down if I didn't stop bothering them, and I'm still here. This one was probably no different, Ray argued. What if you're wrong, Ray? What if this person really is a cop? You could end up in serious trouble, I replied. I haven't done anything wrong. It's just harmless trolling, Ray protested. You call seeing X-rated cartoon pics of little kids, threatening them and calling them horrible racist names trolling? That isn't trolling. It's cyberbullying and it's a serious crime, I snapped, getting more angry from Ray's arrogance. They called me fat, and I hate it when people do that to me. They deserved it, Ray said firmly. I was shocked as to how Ray could be this arrogant and stupid. Dude, Do you not even care about anything you've done or what you're doing? This is wrong, and you know it. For once in your life, just listen to me and stop with all this cyberbullying crap. I practically yelled at him. You're not the boss of me, Fred. I told you, I'll do what I want when I want, Ray snapped back. At this point, I was done defending him. Up until that point, Ray had been tolerable to an extent, but now I absolutely hated his existence. He had done something very horrible, and not to mention very illegal, and he just treated it all as some joke. I wasn't going to let him get away with it, though. I made it a priority to tell my aunt and my parents about this incident the moment I got the chance. You know what? Screw you. You've always been a complete asshole to me, my family, your mother, and everyone else around you. I'm done trying to help you, so you come crying to me if it turns out that user was a real cop and decides to come after you for what you did. I yelled angrily, then stormed out of the room. Once his aunt came home around 7 p.m., I explained to her what had happened earlier with Ray in the Discord. Needless to say, she was pissed off and assured me she'd have a word with Ray about it after I left. I honestly hoped Ray's own mother would actually do something to stop him from doing any more of this disgusting nonsense before he ended up hurting any more users on Discord like he did in Pirates Cove and so many others. Once I returned home, I tried to put aside everything that had happened at my aunt's house, but I couldn't help but feel worried. I was happy that Ray's mother was taking some form of action against her son for what he had done, but those messages that I saw in Pirates Cove bothered me. I thought back to what Ray said about it all possibly being a prank to scare him, and I wondered if maybe that had been the case. But I honestly had no way of knowing. Social media chatting apps like Discord are always filled with people whom you can never really tell if they're being honest or not. There's no way of really knowing who you're chatting with on the other side or where they even lived, unless you knew them personally. And for all I know, they could just be a bunch of kids or perhaps even trolls or punks trying to mess with other people. However, the same couldn't be said with Pirates Cove. Those messages I saw seemed very serious, and given the fact that most of the users on that server chatted and acted like kids, I had this constant feeling in my gut that told me that Ray could possibly be in big trouble. I honestly didn't care much about Ray at this point after everything he had done. And don't get me wrong, I know that he is my cousin, but he certainly didn't act like it. And as I mentioned before, ever since Ray's father died, Ray had acted very selfish and sometimes cruel towards others. His aunt had tried many times to change his ways, but he wouldn't do it, no matter how hard she tried. As far as Ray was concerned, he owned everyone and everything around him, and he didn't care who he hurt to make his point clear. About a week later, everything was fine, and I pretty much put the whole Pirates Cove incident out of my mind, thinking it had all been a prank to scare Ray and his mates away from the server. However, as I was headed home from college, in my Ford Fusion, I got a call from my aunt. When I answered my cell phone, my aunt sounded very upset. Aunt Chloe, what's going on? You sound upset. I asked in concern. What she said next made my heart nearly stop. Fred, you need to get down to my house right away. It's Ray. He's been arrested, and there are 2 police detectives here who want to talk to you. Aunt Chloe replied, sounding very upset and a bit angry. It took every amount of willpower I had not to lose control of my car, as I took in Aunt Chloe's horrifying words. I already knew why Ray had been arrested, but I still wanted clarification. What happened? I asked fearfully. The police and the FBI found Ray engaging in illegal activity on Discord and tracked his location to here, and they want to speak to you about it. One of them claims to be the father of 2 children that got harassed by Ray, and from what he said, his 6-year-old daughter is in the hospital because of it. And Chloe replied, and that said everything. So it hadn't been a prank like Ray and I had thought. It really had been a cop on the other end, and he had found out where Ray lived, just like he had promised. Damn it. I tried to tell him. I tried. Why wouldn't that idiot listen to me? I cursed angrily in my head, and I sped off the freeway, and eventually I made it to my aunt's house, where I saw 2 police cars parked in her driveway. As I got out of my car and I walked up to the house, I saw Ray in the back of one of the police cars, just staring down blankly. When I walked by it, Ray made eye contact with me through the window, and I just stared at him in disgust. Still think it was just pranksters? I mocked coldly, then headed into my aunt's house where I saw her speaking with two police officers in the living room. I also saw two other officers in the dining room with Ray's laptop. They had it hooked up to the police computers and were scanning it, most likely for evidence. Once I was in the living room, my aunt approached me with two officers. One of them was a tall black guy with a tough looking build and an intimidating looking appearance, and he also looked pissed off from what I could tell. This gave me a bad feeling in my gut. And the shorter officer didn't look as pissed as the other one, but I could definitely tell he wasn't happy. He was looking at me as if I was one of the guilty ones, and that made me nervous. "You Ray's cousin Fred?" the tall officer demanded coldly. Yeah, what was I called here, officer?" I asked nervously. "Name's Officer Sean, and it's because we need to talk. We need to ask you some questions," he replied. "Your cousin Ray is in a heap of trouble already, and I can tell you right now that he's going to be lucky if he gets anything other than prison time after some of the disgusting garbage we found on his laptop. Also, my 6-year-old daughter Cherry is in the hospital due to having a severe asthma attack from seeing the horrible images your cousin sent to my son's server, and my son is faring no better. He's having nightmares for the last several nights thanks to your cousin and his friends. Right before I banned them from the server, they spammed it with disgusting shock fetish pictures that should never be seen by a child, and it traumatized my son very badly." As soon as Officer Sean told me this, I felt my heart skip a beat, and I realized I was looking right at the officer who'd been sending those warning messages and those threats of tracking Ray down in the Pirates Cove Discord. I know, I saw the messages. I can tell you right now that I'm very sorry for what happened. I tried to stop Ray, I really did, but he wouldn't listen to me. He never listens to anyone," I replied sympathetically. "Now, I can tell you that he's in far more trouble than you think, since there were children involved with what Ray did," Officer Sean replied. He then explained that after Ray sent the disgusting Rule 34 image of Jake and Izzy into the Pirates Cove Discord, his daughter named Cherry became traumatized by it, and she ended up having a severe asthma attack, which landed her in the hospital shortly afterwards. Cherry apparently had asthma and was also diagnosed with anxiety problems, and this is what caused her to have a breakdown when Ray sent that disgusting image in Pirates Cove. His son, whose name was Rob, ended up badly traumatized as well. He didn't have asthma like his sister did, but he did end up with nightmares from seeing both that image and the other horrid shock fetish images that Ray's friends had sent when they raided the server. Ray wasn't able to sleep in his own room. Rob wasn't able to sleep in his own room for a whole week due to the constant nightmares he had thanks to Ray and his mates. And as for Cherry, she was eventually discharged from the hospital after staying overnight without any further health issues, but she ended up with constant nightmares like a brother. Officer Sean also told me immediately he called the police station right after his daughter had an asthma attack and showed them all the evidence on his son's Discord. Rob had also managed to screenshot the Roll 34 image Ray had sent onto the server before I deleted it, so thankfully there was evidence of it. After seeing this, the chief of police got the FBI involved, and they immediately started an investigation and attempted to track down Ray's Discord account. But because he always used a VPN, it made it hard for them to track Ray's location. Eventually, the FBI contacted the owners of Discord and informed them of their investigation on tracking down a potential Discord predator, and told them to provide the location of Ray's account. Because Ray created his primary account without using a VPN, the FBI was able to attain Ray's real IP address and eventually found out where he lived, along with some other evidence that shocked me. As it turned out, Ray and his friends hadn't just done this horrid stuff in Pirates Cove Discord, but also in 15 other Discord servers, as well as using multiple alt accounts. All these servers had also been confirmed to having young kids in them as well, all between the ages of 6 to 10 years old. Apparently the police had been receiving a lot of complaints from the parents of said child users on those servers that their children were being bullied, stalked, and harassed by Ray and his disgusting friends on multiple alternate accounts. Unfortunately, at the time, they hadn't been able to track the location of these accounts since Ray had been using a VPN at the time, along with the GPS relocator app on his phone, and that made it impossible to track his original location. His friends also used the same method as well because it made their locations untraceable. Because because of this, the police had mostly just passed everything off as some random troll trying to seek attention let it slide. However, being the idiot Ray was, he just he just happened to harass the wrong user with his primary account. And since their father had been an officer of the law, Ray ended up finally being busted, and it had been confirmed by the FBI that these alt accounts had all been Ray's accounts. And after seeing all the disgusting content that he and his friends sent into the Pirates Cove Discord using his primary account, Puck the Prankster King, they had enough evidence to arrest him. Just a few hours before I got out of class, Ray had been in the middle of another trolling server when the police banged on his door with an arrest warrant for Ray. When my when my Aunt Chloe answered the door, four officers burst in, and Officer Sean had aggressively demanded to know where Ray was, then informed her that her son was under arrest for cyberbullying, cyber harassment, and for sending porn to underage kids. Ray, of course, being the coward that he was, tried to hide in the basement and then sneak out of the small basement window to the outside, but Officer Sean ended up catching him and subdued him to the ground where he was arrested. I honestly had no words at this point to express how disgusted I was with Ray. I had no idea he had been using other alternate accounts until Officer Sean told me just now. I'd always thought that Ray had just been using his one account, but it seems I was wrong. After the explanation, the police questioned me about the other servers Ray and his friend raided, such as whether or not I knew about them and the activity that had been going on in them and such. Of course, I knew nothing about this until now. I was eventually allowed to leave. Once I returned home, I informed my parents about what had happened, but they told me they already knew. Aunt Chloe had told them over the phone a while ago, right after Ray had been arrested. And they weren't angry with me since I tried to stop Ray at the time when he was in Pirates Cove. Yet I still felt like a bit of a failure for not being able to prevent those poor kids from suffering from Ray's disgusting little pranks. If I had just been a little quicker, I might have been able to stop him. I honestly didn't care much about Ray at this point, despite him being my cousin. Like I said before, he didn't act like a real cousin to me. Ray was arrogant, selfish, cold-hearted, and cruel. Aunt Chloe had also admitted over the phone that she was partly to blame for Ray becoming the monster he was now. If she had actually paid more attention to what Ray was doing and online and in life, she might have been able to get him the help he needed. And it was too late for that. She had been told that her son was facing some extremely serious criminal charges for what he had done, and because Ray had ended up putting a child with mental disorders in the hospital with his pranks, he was facing additional charges as well. The cops said that Ray could possibly be facing 50 years in prison if convicted, and this would eventually come to pass. About a week later, Ray was taken to court and trialed for the crimes he committed, and I also had to appear in court as well since I was a witness. Aunt Chloe was there along with my parents, and even Officer Sean and his wife were there along with their daughter Cherry and their son Rob. And I got a good look at them for the first time. I was shocked at how young they looked. I mean, Cherry was a small girl, wearing a Jake and the Neverland Pirates T-shirt. She had long black hair and blue eyes. Rob was slightly taller than Cherry and wore a Captain Hook T-shirt, had short black hair, green eyes. Ray barely even looked at them when the cops brought him into the courtroom. He was dressed in an orange prison jumpsuit. The judge eventually began the session and began reading the charges Ray was facing. They included cyberbullying, cyber harassment, sending porn to underage children, along with additional charges for putting Cherry in the hospital. When the judge asked Officer Sean to present the evidence against Ray, the jury wielding a projector with a police laptop hooked up to it, and a projector screen was lowered down from inside the ceiling above. As Officer Sean stepped up to present the evidence to the courtroom, he requested his children be excused from the court to avoid seeing some of the graphic images that were about to be shown to the court. The judge accepted his request, and Sean's wife took their children outside of the courtroom to spare them the horrid images that were soon to be shown. Once they were gone from the room, Officer Sean presented the evidence of Ray's cyber crimes to the court. Most of them were all screenshots from the Discord servers that Ray and his friends had raided. They were far more disgusting than I originally thought. There was one server known as Seagull's Lagoon, where a Discord user named the Stupid Lamo Troll spammed a bunch of horrid gore fetish pics throughout every channel on the server. And there was another one called Super Mario Park. Those were mostly sick fetish pics spammed in almost every channel as well. There was a long list of servers that Officer Sean presented, and it all went on and on like this. Some of the usernames that spanned these types of images also had names I didn't recognize. So I pretty much guessed that these were all alt accounts that Ray had been using, like the police mentioned to me. The usernames weren't that important, so I won't mention them. My parents, Aunt Chloe, and even the judge and jury were absolutely horrified at the horrible, disgusting images that were presented to them. I was also disgusted as well. I had no idea Ray had been doing this in so many servers, let alone doing it to kids as well. Some of the images Ray sent back to the servers were so graphic and disgusting that some of the jury members actually looked away. But I didn't. I watched every piece of evidence that was displayed before me in the court, feeling more and more disgusted with Ray at every clip. As for Ray, he simply glanced at the evidence against him with almost no emotion. I was pretty sure that he was scared out of his mind at that point, but was too much of a coward to actually show it. Eventually, Officer Sean finally got to the evidence clips of the Pirates Cove Discord and began explaining to the judge what happened to his son and daughter right after Ray sent that Rule 34 pic into the server, along with the other horrid pics into the other channels as well. Cherry and Rob ended up being scared out of their minds, and poor Cherry ended up having an asthma attack so bad that she had to be rushed to the hospital as a result. Officer Sean also went on to explain that his son Rob also ended up having bad dreams as well, so much that he ended up having to eventually attend therapy for a while. Once the evidence was presented, the judge questioned Ray and asked him if the counts on all the servers shown in the evidence was him. Yet he said nothing at first. But when the judge, along with Officer Sean, demanded that Ray answer the question, he finally spoke up. "Yeah, they're mine," Ray said flatly, almost as if he didn't care about what he had done. "Were you also aware that they were underage children in them?" the judge asked. "Nah, I just guessed," Ray said snidely. "Well, I can tell you right now that a good majority of the users in those Discord servers were all underage children, and we have proof of that," the judge informed Ray. Officer Sean presented evidence of all the police reports that the families of those underage children had filed over the last months of Ray's little trolling sprees to the judge, and confirmed that they fit the descriptions of the old accounts shown in the said servers. Once all the evidence was presented, the jury prepared a verdict. After finding all the evidence to be completely accurate and precise, Ray was found guilty of cyberbullying, cyber harassment, sending graphic, pornographic images to minor, and cyber assault for putting a child in the hospital, and he was sentenced to 50 years in prison without parole. Ray wouldn't get out until he was 67 years old. Before Ray was taken away to begin his sentence, he just glanced at me with almost no emotion, except maybe for a small hint of hatred. After that, I never spoke to Ray again, nor even visited him in prison. As for me, Aunt Chloe, my family, Officer Sean, and his family, we all went on with our lives. That now brings me to this moment. I'm now 21 years old, and I successfully graduated college with a degree in art, and I'm living a positive life. As for Chloe, she still visits Ray in prison now and then, but ended up with a minor depression as a result of feeling like a failure as a mother. My parents are doing their best to help her get through it, and I've been helping as well. I honestly don't feel that much sympathy towards Ray due to all the horrible things he had done over the years. But deep down, I do wish that I could have done more to try and prevent him from practically destroying his own life. Because of what Ray had done, he would now spend pretty much the rest of his life away in prison. He wouldn't be released until he was practically an old man with a cane. Then again, Ray always had a choice. He could have improved himself if he actually tried, if he listened to what everyone was telling him about stopping what he was doing, but he chose not to. I myself had also tried warning Ray that his luck would eventually run out if he didn't stop doing what he had been doing online for the past several years, but Ray simply blew it off like it didn't matter. Well, now he'd have pretty much the rest of his entire life to rethink what he could have done to prevent himself from ending up where he is now, in a prison cell. This story is a warning to everyone who uses social media online. Everyone takes so much for granted these days, saying and doing whatever they think on any social media platform and thinking no one will do anything about it. What happened to Ray proves that isn't true. No one is truly hidden from law enforcement online, and if you continue to commit crimes on any social media platform, you will eventually be caught if someone decides to really put in the effort to track you down. Even with VPNs, you can still be tracked by law enforcement. Such was the case with my cousin Ray. Be careful what you say and do online because if you're not careful and you do the same thing that Ray did, you may find yourself behind bars for life. The end. I'm gonna go in here. Holy crap. Okay, I said I was going to. Uh, I said I was going to just stop afterwards. I was not being able to read the comments while it was going on. I hope that the sound got better. If the sound is a problem, um, there is a problem with my microphone. The stand broke, but the microphone itself is fine and always has been fine, so I'm not really sure what the problems were. I do apologize for it though, but I hope you like the story. I mean, it. I quite enjoyed it myself. Thought it was thought it was really different and quite enjoyable. I gotta tell you though, it's a marathon. It was a marathon to read. It was oh several times when I'm sitting here and I have my I have my mouse sitting on the side and my leg started hurting and I tried to move my leg, but I was trying not to affect the story at all. But I mean, again, I do apologize greatly if the microphone's having problems. If it is, send me messages. Let me know. I have several microphones. I have one that I had been using mostly for a while. That it actually records very loudly, which is why I don't use it. But it may be the best option, and maybe I have to get a new one going forward. So I mean, just let me know. I mean, I'm probably right now going to have to stop in a few minutes because I gotta tell you guys that was a good story. I liked the story. That was one of the hardest things I've ever done, though, is I had to do my best to not break character. Which yeah, I think you guys all know I did a few times, and that was a good long story. I want to congratulate Space Voyager 1701 for writing that story and sharing it with me. It was very interesting and I think very well written. I hope that you guys will go to his channel. Go to go to Space Voyager 1701. I'll try to get a link or maybe he can post a link in here and we'll see what happens. And now I want to tell you guys about what's going forward. We got a really small amount of people watching right now. I hope it's not because of sound problems, but I see that Evil Black Cat's mentioning that Rule 34. I'm not really familiar with that phrase, so um, I will let everyone know what I'm going to be doing next. So after I let you guys know, I'm probably going to go because as I said, that was a marathon. It was great, but to that was probably one of the best things I've done. If I was recording that story not live, the amount of mistakes that I would have made, um, somehow though reading it live really, really made me be precise. It made me do my best to not make mistakes. But I tell you, I have a really dry mouth right now, so I need to get myself a drink. And what I'm going to be doing next, I'll let you know. I'm working on a new country story video, which should be out tomorrow. And I hope that you guys really like this. Space Voyager has sent me another story, which I also plan on narrating. And as usual, I love you guys. I think you're great. Oh, 1701, the Enterprise. I'm such a. Oh my god. I am such a Trekkie. I am such a freaking Trekkie and did not realize that. And I am a super Trekkie. I tell you right now, if you put Captain Kirk in any movie at all, he always wins. But yeah, put some links in. You can put links in the comments too, and look forward to a new video tomorrow. Country stories. A couple of them are pretty freaky, and I know those are the stories that we all like the most. So thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. Check out Space Voyager's channel, and I will talk to you all and have a video out for you tomorrow. Good night, everybody.